Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into something that's, absolutely critical for any business, but so often gets overlooked. It's called strategic workforce planning. You can think of it as the art and science of making sure you have the right people with the right skills in the right place at exactly the right time.
So, let's just start with a number. $1.8 billion. Any ideas what this could be? It's a huge cost, and it's tied to getting just one single decision horribly wrong.
Yep, that's the staggering cost of a messed up leadership transition. It's this incredibly powerful reminder that getting talent decisions wrong, especially at the very top, isn't some small HR issue. No, it's a multi-billion-dollar business catastrophe. This really puts into perspective just how high the stakes are in today's talent game. So, how do you actually avoid these kinds of catastrophic and honestly pretty common mistakes? Well, that's what we're going to unpack right now. We're going to walk through it all, step by step, in 5 key sections, from really understanding the problem to building a plan you can actually use. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the reality of the business world today. In this crazy competitive landscape, organizations are facing what the source material calls a perpetual series of talent management problems. It's just a constant battle, day in and day out.
And this is what that battle looks like on the ground. I mean, these are the exact challenges that keep leaders staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., right? How do you find that one data scientist when literally everyone else is trying to hire them too? How do you actually grow your next generation of leaders? And how do you boost productivity without completely burning out your team? See, these aren't just separate issues. They're all tangled together in one big, complex puzzle.
And that leads to this huge paradox. You'll hear almost every leader say it. People are our most important asset. They'll tell you talent is the absolute key to innovation and winning. But then you lift the hood, and what do you find? Almost nobody is building a real, strategic plan to manage that asset. They're just reacting, constantly putting out fires.
So this brings us to the solution. It's about switching gears, getting out of that reactive, firefighting mode, and into a much more proactive, strategic one. And this, my friends, is where strategic workforce planning, or SWP, comes into play. So what is it, really? Well, you can see the formal definition, but let's just break it down. At its core, SWP is about looking into the future of your business. Where are we headed? What are our big goals? And then working your way backward to figure out the who. It's all about making sure you have the right people with the right skills, totally ready to execute that strategy when the time comes. No more last-minute scrambling. Okay, let's get practical here. SWP isn't some fuzzy, abstract idea. It's a really clear, repeatable system. The source material actually lays out a playbook for it, and it's built around 4 core activities. Here they are, the 4 big steps. First, you've got your talent inventory. Who's on the team right now? What skills, what potential do we have inside our 4 walls today? Second, the workforce forecast. You look ahead and ask, who are we going to need? Third, you create action plans to close that gap between the talent you have and the talent you're going to need. And finally, control and evaluation. You got to measure your results, see what's working, and tweak the plan as you go. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. That whole forecasting piece. It's like a two-sided coin. On one side, you're trying to predict your internal supply. It's complex, sure, but it's based on things you have some data on, like promotion rates and retirement trends. But then you flip the coin. You have to forecast external demand, and that's where things get really tricky, because it's driven by these huge, unpredictable forces like the economy, brand new technology, and whatever your competitors decide to do next. Okay, so once you have that system in place, you can start thinking on a higher level, because a truly great workforce plan isn't just a mechanical process. It has to be plugged into the very soul of your organization. It's about moving past just the how and getting to a much, much deeper why.
And this question right here, it perfectly illustrates a fundamental choice every single organization has to make. Where do you even start when you build a business strategy? Because the answer to this one question will shape everything else that follows, especially your talent plan. So this leaves companies with 2 totally different paths. On the one hand, you've got the conventional approach. It starts by looking at the market. It asks, what business are we in, and how are we going to compete? It's very much an outside-in view. But the other way, the values-based approach, completely flips that script. It starts by looking inward and asking, what do we actually believe in? What are our core values? And then from that foundation, it builds a strategy that flows directly from that identity.
All right, now we get to the ultimate test of foresight. This is where all the strategic planning really meets the pavement: leadership. It's where you decide to either make your own leaders from scratch, buy them from the outside, or, as we saw with that $1.8 billion number, completely botch it.
And the scale of this problem is, well, it's kind of shocking. A survey found that only 26% of organizations have a formal succession plan. 30% have an informal one, which, could mean just about anything. And a full 44% have no plan at all. They are flying completely blind, just hoping for the best when their current leaders decide to move on.
So this brings us to that big strategic choice. Now, while growing your own leaders internally is often the dream, there are some very smart reasons to go out and buy talent. Maybe your forecasts are a bit shaky, or you're just not big enough to have a deep bench of leaders in training. It's also a great move if you need someone for a short-term project or, and this is a big one, if you are trying to fundamentally change the culture and direction of the company. But look, whether you make or you buy, there is one foundational rule that holds up any great talent strategy. The single best investment you can possibly make is in your selection process. In staffing. Why? Because when you get the right people in the door from day one, every other dollar you spend on training, on development, becomes exponentially more powerful. A great hire just makes everything else easier.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Look at your own organization. Is there a real intentional plan to build the next generation of talent? Or is the strategy basically just hope? Hoping the perfect person happens to be on the market right when you need them? Because in a world that's always changing, the best way to predict the future is to build the team that's going to create it.